It's happening. We're live. Did he just take a phone call?
Yes, he did.
He just took a phone call.
I'm back. You was talking like y'all was ironing out issues and making it happen. Get it?
Oh,
So we, I'm here. What's happening, bro?
What's going on? How y'all doing?
Oh man, you
why?
got it.
Why?
Huh?
Why? Tracy is upset.
She was in the background doing it.
Tracy is upset.
Why?
Look.
She look happy to me.
Mohammed.
What's going on?
Okay, so guys, in all fairness, obviously you guys can hear us, but we are in a new studio. This is technically not the podcast room, but we are in a new studio space, and I did not realize that it was going to be so much connection and reconnect and put this into that hole and unplug that and stick this in that hole. And if I pull it, we're going to put it in the hole tonight. So
y'all virgins to y'all new studio.
All right.
Yeah, we virgins. So they popping our cherry tonight.
Wow.
And we have Justin is the designated cherry popper. Pause. Ain't nobody pausing, Ray.
You just went out. Your sound just went out.
Sure did.
Freddie, your sound is out.
I can hear you though, man.
Yeah, we can hear. I can hear Muhammad, and he can hear me, but we can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you. You. Yeah. You good? Nope. Whatever y'all did before, you need to undo whatever you just did because it was working.
Yeah.
No.
Wirelessly.
No.
So Juan, let me ask you, while she sets up, what are you
Right.
thinking about Trump right now, man?
Oh man, that dude's wild, man. But he's been wild from the beginning. When I look at dude, I'm just thinking it's just like he's still in entertainment mode. I don't think he ever stepped out of that mode of being on what was the joint where he would fire people, whatever that show was.
The Apprentice.
Yeah, like that was him. Like
Right.
he's probably the one reality star where really that's him. That's how he get down.
Right. You're right. And it was just, for me, it was crazy when he's telling people to vote twice. And let's see what happens. So he's been telling people in North Carolina, his supporters, vote twice. If mail-in voting really works, vote twice, and let's see what happens. So he's encouraging people to commit voter fraud. It's like, wow, really?
When I seen that, I'm down in Georgia. When I seen him send me that mail-in, that was the first thing that came to my mind was, what stops people from mailing it in and then showing up to the poll?
Right.
Like, because you're going to check in at the poll.
Right. But I think that's what he wants. So if a few people do it and it's 2 ballots, he's going to say, oh, the whole process is fraudulent. It's almost like he wants to preclude the process by he does this a lot. He wants to put this stuff out there that it's an unfair process.
Right.
And it's rigged against him. It's like red meat for his supporters. He does this all the time. You know?
But that's setting up the alley-oop for you to be able to throw the whole thing out, or
and he's doing the same
to lean on the electoral college because of the talk of everybody wanting to get rid of that. So it's like, nah, this is why we got to have that, because that we can effectively count. And we know that's how he won last time, because he lost the popular vote last year.
By like 3 million. He did.
Yeah.
And he's saying the same thing about the moderators, even though there's a Fox moderator too. For the first debate, he's saying we didn't pick these moderators, and these are moderators who are friendly to Joe Biden and his agenda.
Right.
So already he's setting it up just in case he loses and does poorly.
Oh, he gonna do that.
Against me.
Hey, we all know Joe good when it comes to that debate. When he chastised that youngster that was running with Mitt Romney.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he punished him on there. On there. So yeah, Trump, that debate, it don't fair for him on that one. I'm surprised that he gonna do it. Like I know they're gonna have to make him do it.
The debate, yeah. But it's sad, man. Like, and then he goes to Michigan and he's making an excuse for this 17-year-old by saying if he didn't kill those people, he probably would have been killed. So you basically encouraging these militias to go out and do this.
Man.
I heard the guy he stood with, they were saying on the news, the guy he stood with who business got burnt down, that wasn't even a guy. He just had somebody stand in. And the owner was like, he didn't want to be with the president because he's politicizing the whole thing. It's a dangerous game he's playing right now, man.
Yeah.
It's real dangerous.
That's sad, man. But that whole thing in Kenosha, I had seen some stuff today where they showed I guess he's the police chief, and he was talking about, well, if the people wasn't out after curfew, well, then maybe they wouldn't have got shot.
Yeah, he needs to be fired, man. He needs to be fired.
Don't that apply to the 17-year-old too? That if he wouldn't have been out after y'all curfew, he wouldn't have shot nobody?
Exactly.
But that go back to what we were saying last week, talking about, well, they letting you know which way they leaning with the excuse that they coming up for the individual.
Right.
It's nothing we haven't seen before.
And but that's my issue with this two-party system we have. Mm-hmm. Trump is bad, and it's like we don't have another choice. So we just gotta go to the Democrats.
Right.
Whether we like them or not, or whether we want to hold them accountable a lot, or whether we agree with their record of politics or not, when you got somebody like Trump, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And I feel like they know that. They know that too. So we end up voting for the same thing. And I just feel like we get into a point where we can't be doing the same thing no more. You hear about what happened in Rochester?
And where?
Rochester, New York. So there was a man who was hospitalized because he had suicidal thoughts. So he was put away in a ward, a psych ward. Came out, he ran away naked from his house. His brother called the police to help. The police got him. They saw him outside. They handcuffed him. They put a spit bag over his face. Then they pushed his face to the ground for like 3 minutes. And he's begging for them to stop. After 3 minutes, he stopped breathing. They said he threw up some stuff. What the cops are saying, and it's like, oh, he's not breathing. He ended up dying. The police chief told the mayor that he died. What did he say he died of? He died of a drug overdose. It's true. He had PCP in the system, But what the police chief didn't tell the mayor, who's a sister, her name is Lovey Warren, the mayor of Rochester, he didn't tell her that what the cops did, the way they pushed his face down, put the sock over his face, and the way they treated him. So even though against legal advice, she fired those. She suspended the cops. All the cops are suspended who were there. And she said against legal advice, she's suspending those police officers. And she made some statements she said she shouldn't have made, but she did it. And I guess that's my thing. We need politicians who don't really go to bat for us. And this black woman in Rochester, she's doing it. Against legal counsel, she's doing it. She's firing those officers. I was kind of angry because there was a lot of white people looking at the post when it was on Facebook, and they're like, "Oh, well, why is this coming out now? Why y'all making a big deal now?" It turns out it took the family until now, through Freedom of Information, to get the police footage and everything else. So even though he died in March, they just got the footage and everything else, and the police were just trying to say it was an overdose. They didn't talk about how their actions contributed to this man.
And led to it. Wow.
And he's handcuffed naked, and they pushed his face in the ground. Wow. So asphyxiation is one of the reasons that he died.
Yeah.
You know?
That's crazy. I seen something, it was like a meme where a nurse, a RN, she said, man, we deal with belligerent, feisty, drunk, violent people every day in the ER, and none of them end up dead. And she was like, that's not part of our care. So cops got to basically make it part of their care not to kill you. You know what I mean? Like that has to become part of the training for them to do you and work with you and get you compliant without harming you.
But I feel like they do a good job of doing that when the person is white.
They do what?
Because they do a hell of a job of doing that when the person is white, calming down, de-escalating the situation, getting the armed person into custody without killing them.
Yeah.
So is it really the training, or is it just the way they look at black men? You know what I mean? Because we've seen countless tapes where they could, you know?
Yeah.
So, I'm wondering, is it a training thing, or this is just how they see us? Because I just read somewhere a guy, he killed his black neighbors. I just read this. And then he shot 40 rounds at the cops. This just happened. They brought him into custody.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Man.
You can hear me now? Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
I just read about an older white couple, 77 and 72, shot at a black man and his 10-year-old son that was returning a U-Haul. They owned the U-Haul company, and they were saying that people was pilfering their gas out of their U-Hauls. So when this guy was returning the U-Haul to their company with his son, he said he's backing up. First shot just rang out, bang. So then he ducks, hits the gas, and just gets out of there. Several shots they just start putting out. This just went down like the other day. And it just happened to be a cop in the area who kind of ran up on them and caught them doing what they was doing, and he arrested them and brought them in. A 77 and 72-year-old white couple, I think, down in Florida. This just went down.
Wow.
And I believe this is like a domino effect of white citizens that they're at a point where they can get away with killing an African American, a black man or woman, and there's not going to be any repercussion.
Right. Yeah.
They're now, because it was like always that mesh of them feeling like they are one with the police. They are part of they're an extension of the police force, and that's why their word is better or good over ours. If they say we did it, we did it. And they are now pulling out the extent of killing us and saying, all right, I can get away with it too. I can do it.
Well, let me ask you guys this question. As to brothers, and thank y'all for being so patient. We actually just ended up just shutting everything down because it was just stupid. But as two brothers, like as two of my very good friends, how do you guys feel as far as like if you ever have a confrontation or you ever have an issue, how quick are you to call the police? That's not
yeah, what
don't
kind of
everybody speak at once.
Talking about, Freddie?
Don't, because they. But I mean, isn't that telling though? Isn't that telling that the fact that both y'all was like, But you know, the funny thing is that that's not it for this part. The funny thing is that I'm gonna just forward this to you. I have never, I'm not one to call the police for anything. Like I'm like, if I can't handle it myself, then we in trouble. But I'm not what like the calling the police would be like the last resort. Like legit, it has to be like somebody's life is in danger and I can't fix it. I just think you can use my phone. No. Huh?
Depend, like if it's a car accident.
Nope.
Or something
nope.
Like that.
If it's a car accident, I'm calling 911 for the ambulance. I'm not calling the cops.
Okay.
I'm gonna say send the ambulance because somebody hurt. I'm not calling the cops. Really.
But I mean, are you talking about like an incident that happened around the way?
Yeah, like in the neighborhood. No. Even if you're in a nice neighborhood, you know.
No.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're not calling the cops. We're not calling the cops. And even when they come, like I'm apprehensive. Even down to the ones that come smile. Don't come smile at me. I'm still apprehensive. I just, and no offense to anybody that's a police officer, respect and all, but I'm just saying it's unfortunate. It's kind of like how white folks look at us as Black people and they think that we're inherently evil, we're inherently criminal, that we're no matter what, that if they see someone like Juan, tall, 6 foot, whatever, chocolate deliciousness with all this, bald head walking down the street, even though you're an educated man, even though you're a father, even though you've never been arrested, even though you don't have a record, even though you don't, whatever, shut up. even though you are ex-military, whatever, Pop. Listen, this is me bigging you up now.
Never?
He said never? But you see what I'm saying.
Right.
They will look at you.
They don't see all of that.
Right, because in their head, they've been programmed to feel like that person is evil or that person, and they don't even realize that they're doing it. And I'm not saying all. I promise you, I'm not giving a blanket statement to say all. I'm just saying the narrative that is being promoted. And I hate to sound like that person, but it happens when you talk about in the media. When we see things in the media, when you talk about let's talk about this 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse that killed 2 white people and wounded another one, right? He's looked at it, he went there and he was doing a good service. It was self-defense. Justice for Kyle. But when you turn around and look at the Jacob Blake, the one that got shot 7 times in the back, they're thinking, that could have been prevented. He should have never been reaching in his car. He should have never. So it is automatically, they're vilified. We are vilified. As a brown-skinned Black people, we are vilified in this country, no matter what. No matter what. Let's talk about the gentleman in my name. His name was just on the tip of my tongue. The dude from Texas. The one that the cop came in, and the cop came in his house and shot him in his own house, in his own apartment, and killed him. What is his name? What was his name? I want to say Dubois, but it's not Dubois. Gosh, his name is escaping me. It was just on the tip of my tongue, and I'm thinking too fast, and I missed it. But I promise you, when I remember, I will.
I know which one you're talking about.
He was in Texas. Joe Botham.
I don't know. I don't want to mess it up, but I know who you talking about. Where she said it was her apartment.
She thought it was her apartment. She had come in from
his apartment,
and she thought it was her apartment. And she said, I didn't. It was like Joheem Botham, something like that.
There we
go.
I know the scenario you're talking about. Yeah, I can't think of it.
Yeah. And you want to plug this to your.
I'm with you.
So
going back to what you were saying though, Freddie, because you was talking about the media. I was having this conversation with my daughter earlier, and I'd be telling her to pay attention to how she's portrayed on TV and in movies. And particularly, I mean, you as a 17-year-old young African-American girl, young Black girl growing up in a middle-class household in college, where are you at on TV? Where are you being shown? And she was like,
where's her representation?
She said, and she always tell me, Daddy, I don't see myself nowhere. I said, well, where do you see me? She was like, I'm a single father, raising my twin daughters, going to school, have a master's degree, work every day, making sure y'all good. I said, where do you see me at? She was like, I don't see you.
The only time you will see that narrative, the only time you'll see that narrative, Juan, is when you look at BET, TV One, or something like that.
Right. You got to echo.
Yeah, because Trace is logged in.
And seeing that and understanding that plays to you what you were saying earlier about how they see us. We're not seen in that light of being counterparts.
Right. And that's I feel like the system is rigged against especially against Black men. Because think about it. You're a single father.
Right.
Multiple children. Now you only have the 2 girls in the house right now, but you had multiple children at one point, right? Raising them by yourself. Now I'm going to put your business a little on front because I already know the answers. Did you take your baby mamas to court for child support?
No.
Wait, this one applies to me too. I didn't either.
No.
Well, but you see what I'm saying?
No. Like to him, I raised my oldest daughter without her mom. Never hit her for child support at all. I could have never even considered it. So similar to his story.
But here's the thing. I know you fell on hard times. I know there were times when you were like, look, we can't get the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. It just ain't happening, right? But if you would have gone to the state and asked for assistance, would you think that they would have assisted you? Or have you tried it? Maybe you haven't. Maybe you haven't tried, or maybe you have tried it.
It's I'm gonna say this. It's not the same willingness to be there and assist and help out the father as it is, like it seems like with the mother. Because I can say initially when it happened, when everything went down. Hold on, let me close my door. Initially, when it happened and went down, it was like, all right. I was like, I'm gonna see how you feel now that the situation is reversed.
Right.
So I initially went up there and talked to them about it and what was going on. And what was crazy was they still had the case open when she had 4 and I was the non-custodial parent. They still had that open.
Mm-hmm.
So then they had to close that, and then they said reopen another one because this is different standing now that you're the custodial parent, and it was a whole thing.
Right.
So then they talked to me about it and everything went down. But when it came down for her, they never found her in the system. They didn't know where she was at. I was like, her address is right there. So then we went through that for a little while. And then I went up there and I sat down and I talked to her. And I said, what you do for them is between you, God, and them.
Right.
It's going to be fine. I said, so I'm not going to move forward with anything. I'm not going to do anything. I don't want that to be our situation because I don't believe that it's the government's business, to be honest.
Right. I agree. But however, we all know that that's not always how it happens, especially when you're talking about Black fathers. When you're talking about Black fathers, when you're talking about single fathers, you're talking about single men. And then the narrative is that men are deadbeat dads. Black men don't take care of their children. You're uneducated. You don't have money. You're sleeping around, whatever. Pick another negative narrative and attach it on. But the men that actually, like you two, that have children that are accomplished, that have gone to school. You two are accomplished, having multiple degrees, being professional men, non-confrontational, respectable men in the community. Where is that exactly?
But again, I don't think that we're not seen because we're not in media.
And that is part of the issue. That's part of my issue, because that was one of the things that I had said, is that I had said it last night to the mister. I said, people keep talking about, oh, y'all need to protect the Black woman. But when are us women going to protect and uphold our Black men? Like, when are we going to take the onus on us to say, hey, listen, that was my fault. And I'm gonna take one for the team for the Black women. But how many times have we seen the righteousness of, oh, he pissed me off today, so I'm gonna put him on blast and I'm gonna do X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3 to make it seem like it's such a big issue when really you just not getting your way.
The hurtful thing, though, I find, and this is not all Black women, clearly, because there's a lot of good sisters out there like you, Rena.
Myself, it's not about to say, you better call it.
There's a lot of good Black women out there, but it's really unfortunate. Everybody knows how Black men are treated in the justice system, the police, and it's really hurtful when a Black woman may get mad at you and will use the system against you. I've seen it done. Right. Some women do this, and it's not just some Black women who do this. We know a lot of whites and other races do this, but it's just more hurtful when somebody who's your own will do that, or they'll use the kids against you.
Right.
So you got some dudes who are straight deadbeats, but then you got some dudes who didn't have the money to fight and get you need a lawyer to win the court as a man, right?
Yeah.
Pennsylvania is probably one of the few states where it's more or less equal. But like, I'm from Illinois, right? So in Illinois, if you're not married to the woman you had a child with, you have no custodial rights unless you go to court.
What?
The woman is considered to be the full custodian in the state of Illinois. How did I find this out? When I'm a young dad, I got my daughter, right? I broke up with her mom. We're not together no more. You're not with me, you're not seeing your kid. So she gets all loud. I'm like, do you? Let the police come. Cop comes over. He's like, who's the mother? Who's the father? It's like, I'm a father. This is my child. And he's like, well, are you married to her? I said, no. Well, in the state of Illinois, if you're not married, she has full custody. You need to give her your daughter. Wow. But back then, I was in college. I had some resources. I was able to draw up papers and make some things happen to go get you. A lot of brothers don't have those resources and can't do that. And right. Court overwhelmingly in most states, unless you're a Dwayne Wade, who got millions and can get a whole team, they favor overwhelmingly.
Wow. Wow. I've heard, and matter of fact, I know people very connected to myself, and I won't call their names, but if they're listening or watching, they will know who they are, that had joint custody of their child. The child lived with the mom most of the time, but would come back and forth. And the mom, of course, still had animosity towards the dad. And the mom chose to pick up and move states away and didn't say anything to the dad.
And they had joint custody at the time?
They had joint custody at the time.
Yeah, that's illegal.
She moved the child joint states away, like literally, right?
Right.
And so he said that he found out because the daughter told him. The daughter said, "Oh, Dad, we're moving." He was like, "What do you mean? What you talking about? You moving? Where y'all moving to?" And she was like, "Oh, out of the state." He was like, "What? Like, what do you mean? She can't do that."
Right.
And the daughter told the dad. And so the dad went to the courts and was like, "Yo, she's moving." He said they told them, "How do you know she's not going on vacation?"
I'm gonna ask this. I don't know if you know, in that situation, was it joint as he filed for joint custody and got it, or was it just natural custody that he assumed that it was?
No, they went to court.
They went to court. Wow.
They went to court.
He shouldn't have been able to do that then.
Because they went to court because she was trying to take him for child support. So they went to court. They got joint custody, but he was still paying her child support. So he would pay her child support. And so when it came to extra stuff that she wanted or needed for the kid, he would say, "I'm not giving you anything. I'll give it to her, but I won't give it to you."
I'm going to tell you the loophole with that.
What is it?
At one point in time, because I've been in child support for so long, at one point in time, visitation, I'm telling you, bro, visitation and the allotment was together. You did that at the same time in the court.
Right. When they did it
together,
they would do visitation. Right.
Yes. But at some point in time, I can't remember, in like the last probably 10 to 15 years, they've separated the two. You have to come for child support and then separately come for visitation.
A lot of states do that.
The fact that he had joint custody, but he never went back and did the visitation, she was probably allowed to violate, or it's not a violation because they didn't put nothing in writing. But if he would have had like in writing his visitation of seeing the kid every other weekend and then seeing the kid in the opposite week,
we're not talking about recent. I'm talking years ago.
Order. But if there was nothing in stone, the court order is not violated because
no, but it was. That's what I'm saying. It was. She was in violation.
Right.
She was in violation.
So if it was
she should have been charged then.
Yeah, because that's
I'm gonna tell you.
That's blocking custody. I'm
gonna tell you, right? So they moved. It was over the summer that they moved, and he was told, "How do you know that she's not on vacation?" He said, "Sir, she's not on vacation because my daughter told me that they moved out there. They changed their address. They said you have to give her time to come back for the school year." So they said, or you could petition the court. He petitioned the court for another custody hearing and wanted to make sure that everything was on the up and up. Took off work, showed up at the courthouse. He knew she wasn't coming because she was still in the faraway place where she was.
Right.
And he said he sat there for hours, only for the clerk to come and say, "Oh, she's not going to show. We rescheduled for her. She can't make it."
Yeah,
he got an attorney.
They play to their hands.
Yeah, he got an attorney. He had all his paperwork. He kept an accurate account of every dollar, every cent that he had given to the mother for this child. And yet they still allowed her to not only not show up, but to call at the last minute and reschedule.
Yeah. That's why when you have custody agreements, you have to spell out everything.
Yes.
Like vacation time needs to be in the summer, not during the school year. Right? Like you have to notify me when you take the kids on vacation. Like a lot of stuff has to be spelled out because the courts they don't want to hear it if it's not really specific, especially men. I could be wrong. I wonder if they would have treated it the same way if he would have moved with the kids.
No, emphatically they would not have. He would have had an arrest warrant out for him in minutes.
But technically, they cannot hold a parent for kidnapping unless it's been established in some kind of court order that that parent is some kind of flight risk or a danger or something to that child. But typically, it's state to state, but typically a state cannot hold a parent to kidnapping. Like say he was to go wherever she was at, pick her up from school and break out back to wherever he's from, they can't arrest him. They can't do nothing.
Well, I can promise you, between Delaware laws being as archaic and enslaved as they with their,
I know about the Delaware laws.
You don't know about them?
I'm
about to say you probably could write the book. You got the blue book.
I'm versed in that Delaware.
I know in your state though. I know in your state, Rena, the custody orders I've seen, they do say in order for a parent to move out of the county of Philadelphia, they have to come back to court first. You can't move and take the kid. It's spelled out, at least in your city, like you have, that has to be, you have to notify the court and get a court date before you take the kids out of the county. Not
they took it upon themselves to have a good time, and was never held accountable for it, ever, never. And then after that, they never moved back. So at that point, his daughter was transitioning into high school. They were gone, and that was it. They were gone, and that was it. So unfortunately, we have to get ready to wrap up. But I have one more question for you guys before we wrap up, and I want each one of you to answer it. If you could give a narrative, a directive, give a blueprint to Black females right now on behalf of the strong, powerful, amazing, powerful, intellectual, professional Black men, right? What would you tell us that you need from us to help uphold you? What would you want and what would you need from us? As a Black man, from the Black females, what would you want from us and what do you need from us? Either one of you, both of you, I want to hear from both of you.
I would say two things. I think one, the way a lot of Black women view Black men has to change, right? I think even Black women, most people, they're used to dumping on Black men. They're used to Black men being the worst statistic in every category, you know, whether it's prison, low employment, literacy, or education. So I think in the psyche of some Black women, they don't feel like a lot of Black men are equal to them. How does it play out? I've been with Black women who are very educated, not so educated, in between. They have a hard time taking any type of even constructive criticism from a Black man. I could say something with a smile and tap dance, and they would. But their girlfriend or somebody else from another race would say, you know. So
Tracy says she disagrees. You disagree? Come here, Tracy. Tracy says she disagrees. Wait.
So this is my experience. I've had this issue with my mother, who's a Black Panther, highly educated, multiple degrees. I've had this issue with my sisters. They could go at it with each other all day in the worst way. I could ask a question. I give an example. I asked my mother when she kept my daughter, who's out of college now. I said, you know, she's sick. Like, what did you feed her? I know how to be a mother. What you think I'm stupid? I'm like, Dad, I can't ask what you fed my daughter. Now, my sisters could ask this anytime. No big deal.
Right.
Hung up on me. She went, pardon my French, she went ape shit. Why did that happen to me? I wasn't yelling at my mom. I was like, hey, well, what's going on? What does she have to eat? That was an issue for her. Now, if I look at my mother's narrative, she's a very strong woman.
Right.
She's been holding the wheel by herself. Right. She'll share, like my sisters are trained to be matriarchs. My brother, do the grass, something like that. Even though my brothers have more education than my sisters. She'll relegate us to doing like handiwork, but when it comes to like the business and the real stuff, it's the women. Now,
so are you saying that you feel as though the women that are interacting and, you know, becoming a part of your life or whatever, they should pretty much give you all the benefit of the doubt?
I think there's a segment, and it's not just, don't get me wrong, let me be clear. It's not just something that is on any segment of Black women. I think because what was done to us since slavery, a lot of Black women are used to being the matriarchs, right? They're used to running things. They're used to running a household. But sometimes that can cause an issue when you do have a brother who's qualified and who is capable of driving and giving you some feedback about some things you should work on, then be used to that. There's some women who are not used to that. I'm not saying that's something that is just their fault. I think we need to change that narrative. Start trusting brothers who are capable and who may not be like the other brothers who, you know, couldn't cut the mustard or who wasn't capable of sharing the power or leading.
All right, Juan, what do you say about that, bro?
I'm gonna piggyback off Muhammad, but when you asked the question, the first thing that jumped in my mind was trust. What can Black women do for Black trust that I'm going to do my job? I'm not talking about like the sexual and the cheating and all that. That's not part of this, what I'm saying. Trust that I can toe the line, that I can hold my weight, and that I can do my part. And I believe it just goes to the breakdown of our relationship, rather coming from, like he said, mother to son, brother to sister. Just trust. I got it. And I am so familiar with exactly what he pointed out. I could talk to my mom. I could talk her head off about something. And she will ask my sisters who are not as versed in that same thing and run with them over what I said.
Right.
Wow.
But I can tell you right now, that chick is upstairs living with me, left Delaware, moved to Georgia to be with her son.
Don't you talk about mama.
Yeah, I'm gonna get her. But trust, like that. I believe there's 3 pillars of all relationships, no matter what the relationship is: trust, communication, and respect.
Right.
And that trust thing, which weakens our communication, but that trust thing between us is weak.
It is.
Weak.
For sure.
It's weak.
Yeah.
Between Black men and Black women, it's just
weak
across the board. relationship-wise, men romantically, platonically, it is weak.
But you know what? A lot of that I can say also has to do with again, back to what is it that we're hearing, right? What is it that we're hearing? What is it that we're feeding our spirit with? And what is it that we're allowing ourselves to believe concerning ourselves and the men that look like us? Like, I can't say that had I not had enough gumption in me to fight back, to push back on some of the narratives that were included in my life as I was coming up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Right. Some people don't have that. A lot of our women don't have enough gumption. And I don't even mean just Black women, but I mean women across the board. But I mean, we don't have enough enough tenacity, enough vigor to be able to just be like, look, I'm not gonna accept what you're putting on me. I'm not going to accept what you're putting on my brothers. I'm not going to accept what by all accounts, I should be, an alcoholic living in the slums, uneducated, and just waiting for my check, right? Waiting for that check to come in. Because by all accounts, that's what I've seen all my life. Mm-hmm. Okay? And it's no slight on anybody in my family, but that's just what it is. Right. Education, business owner. What the hell is that? What? Business owner. Man, go ahead. You better get you a good job and get you some benefits and go on about your business. Business owner, what's that? Like, who does that? Let alone who thinks about having multiple businesses. Who does that? No, not nobody in this family. So had I accepted what people put on me as the reality or what is the narrative for my life, who knows where I would be. And that's another reason why I'm so grateful. That's a good segue to, what's that shirt you got on right there? What that say? What that shirt say, Juan? Juan Franklin. Hey!
Man. Talking about them old mighty Hornets. That's all that is.
Yes. Listen, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for sticking it out with me. Today was a trial run and it was a bad one, but that's all right. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all to my heart. We will continue. I do want to continue to have the conversation about what is happening. And, especially I heard Muhammad, what you said about your president. Notice I say yours. Given the instruction to vote twice and all that other nonsense.
Yeah.
We need to have this. We need to continue this conversation at a later time. So I will reach out to both of y'all. We do need to have this conversation again. Look.
And I think we should have a conversation too about relationships. I'd love to hear more from Tracy. But I think we gotta really listen to each other because both sides have valid points. And too often we shut. Right? We got to hear each other. That's one of the big issues.
Yeah. But the thing is, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to listen because I'm always here for more relationship and relational talks, right? And I feel like it's definitely, I want to do a segment. I want to do a show on how to love a Black man because people spend a lot of time focusing on the woman. I want to give my brother some love. I really do. So I want September, they say, is take a man on a date month.
Yeah.
So we're going to focus on showing our sisters how to love and appreciate and project their positivity on the brothers that love them and we want to love. How about that? Sound good?
Sound perfect.
All right.
All right. I love y'all. I gotta go. But listen, you guys, anyone who's listening, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. Gotta wrap up. I got my girl, Ray Earl, Craig, Shorty, Tim.
Get him.
Whatever she had. I want some of that drink. Whatever she had. She had nothing. That's
the thing. She just came in here just chilling. Just chilling. We had nothing to drink. You notice I didn't introduce nothing. Nothing to drink today. I'm about to get something later though. I'm about to go get something right now. But I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Listen, if you guys are listening, thank you. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. Please make sure that you guys check me out, XXXindulgenceboutique.com. And my newest brand, Global Relations Consulting Group, for all of your relational coaching and executive partnering needs. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Black lives do matter. I love y'all. If nobody ever told you, CandyGurl loves you. Trace loves you. Ray loves you. Live on purpose, love on purpose. I'm your brown skin CandyGurl. Look, you kissing at the wrong camera, Ray. Right, okay. There you go. Wait, Muhammad just grabbing them.
Right.
All right, y'all. Love y'all.
Love you
We're gonna end this live. We're gonna